these people are not doing what they're constitutionally obligated to do.
A national showdown continues.
That's a really big deal.
Texas on the front lines.
Is this the right strategy for Democrats?
Oh, it absolutely is the right strategy. This is how we fight back.
I have signed the civil arrest warrants.
Arrest warrants signed and the FBI involved as Texas Democrats bolt the state to stop controversial new maps that will give President Trump's party 5 more seats in Congress.
Representatives should not be choosing which voters they can have. The voters should be choosing who are their representatives.
Meanwhile, work in Austin at a standstill.
The House stands adjourned.
From Texas to D.C., Illinois, and California, we have the latest developments in this nationwide struggle for power.
This is Lone Star Politics from NBC5 and the Dallas Morning News.
Good Sunday morning. I'm Phil Prazin from NBC5. Gromer Jeffers, political writer with the Dallas Morning News, will return next week. Soon, the full Texas Senate will vote on controversial new congressional maps, giving more power to Republicans in D.C. Then the plan heads to the Texas House, still in a standoff without enough lawmakers to take action. And the stakes go nationwide.
We'll pick up 5 seats with the consent of the people. And that's the difference between the approach we're taking and the approach they're taking.
Can't do it without you. I know your hearts are with us.
That a quorum is not present. Without objection, the House stands adjourned until 1 p.m. Monday.
More than 51 Texas House Democrats left the state 1 week ago. They did so with the support of their allies in Texas to D.C. and other states in between. Now, in response, several powerful Republicans launched legal battles and investigations here in Texas and across the country as well in an effort to arrest them and return them to Texas. They formally reached out to the Texas Supreme Court, FBI, and law enforcement in the states sheltering the Democrats.
These Democrats, they're the antithesis of what a Texan is.
And I believe they have forfeited their seats in the state legislature because they're not doing the job they were elected to do.
Governor Abbott also filed a lawsuit in an effort to get the chairman of the Texas House Democratic Caucus, Representative Gene Wu, removed from office. And less than 24 hours after a Tarrant County judge stopped Beto O'Rourke's organization from funding the Democrats, Beto O'Rourke rallied in Fort Worth, defending his organization, Powered by People. This morning, we talked to Fort Worth Congressman Mark Vesey. His district will drastically change under the Republican plan, eliminating his base of support in Tarrant County and jamming it all into Dallas County. He traveled to Chicago to support the quorum-breaking Democrats, and here's that conversation. Your reaction to the proposed maps, how does it impact your district?
Oh, my God. From my district, it really just wipes us out. I mean, it takes Fort Worth completely out of the picture, and so it discriminates against constituents in Fort Worth, the north side of Fort Worth, and the historical southeast black side of Fort Worth. I mean, it just eviscerates it, and it's completely unfair. It's unnecessary, and I wish that more of my colleagues and the Speaker of the House, I wish that they would stand up to Donald Trump and tell him, no, we're not going to do this. Because what they're doing is that they're going to take out some of their own people, too. And it won't be Gavin Newsom that took their own people out. It'll be my colleagues in the Texas delegation and the North Texas delegation that didn't say anything and that just idly stood by and let Donald Trump have his way.
Fort Worth will still have Congressman Craig Goldman, Roger Williams, Jake Elsey's district, new proposed district, will go in there. Why does it matter to have a Democratic voice from Tarrant County?
It's huge to have a Democratic voice because I know all of those guys and have a good relationship with all of those guys. But I can tell you that none of them, for instance, would put in the earmark that I put in to get the East Side YMCA reopened. Craig would never get the East Side YMCA open. Roger would never get the East Side YMCA reopened. Jake would never get the East Side YMCA open. That's not a priority for them. The priority that the Republicans in that district have and that the white voters in that district have differ from what the black and brown voters have in mind for what good government is. And they're going to be on the side of the white voters not the brown and black voters every time. And I know those guys, and I get along with those guys. But I'm telling you whose side they're going to take. They're going to take the side of white voters.
But since we're talking about your district, they did move it over into almost completely Dallas County, I believe. Does that change your perspective on what you're going to do next year in 2026?
I have to look at everything. Obviously, I live in Fort Worth, and I was raised in Fort Worth, and I think everybody kind of knows that too. And so that definitely, kind of changes the calculus for how I look at things. And I will just wait to see what kind of happens after this process takes place with the quorum, after the other maps around the country come out. And if this map is ultimately, passed into law, I believe there will be some court litigation that will give us an opportunity. But outside of that, I just have to kind of wait for all of those things to play out.
If these maps do become reality,
yeah.
Is there another office statewide you would be interested in running for?
I'd have to take a look at everything. I mean, I know that, people have, for a long time, just not now, have, talked to me about statewide. People have talked to me about countywide and Tarrant. And so I would just have to really take a close look to see, what all is available out there.
But this could be the spark for one of those.
Yeah.
The quorum break, is this the right strategy for Democrats?
Oh, it absolutely is the right strategy. This is how we fight back. And for a long time now, the activists, the base, a lot of Democratic groups that organize around standing up to Donald Trump, they have been asking us, why are you guys not fighting back? Why are you guys not doing anything? Well, now we're fighting back. And these state legislators, I got to tell you, they're making really a huge sacrifice. Unlike the U.S. House of Representatives, where Hakeem Jeffries is the person that appoints me to committees, whoever our Democratic leader is at the time, or the Democratic speaker at the time, that's who appoints Democrats to committees. Well, in the state House of Representatives, whoever the speaker is, Democrat or Republican, they decide who gets to be committee chairs, who gets to be what they call vice chairs, and who gets money in order to operate their committees. And the speaker decides everything for Democrats and Republicans. And so they're making a big sacrifice by being here politically.
I've heard many Republicans, including Congresswoman Beth Van Dyne on our show last week, said it's ironic that the Democrats went to Illinois, who I think it's 14 Democrat, 3 Republican seats. They go, this is a gerrymandered state on the Democratic side, favoring Democrats. Thoughts about that?
And I just think that it's dumb, to be quite honest with you, because, and the reason why I say that it's so dumb to say that is that no one can point, no single Republican member of Congress, Donald Trump, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, no Republican influencer that has 1 million Twitter followers or 100 Twitter followers can look into this camera that we're talking into right now and say with a straight face that Illinois or any other Democratic state has ever done mid-decade redistricting. So we're not talking about oddly shaped maps. If you want to get into a game of oddly shaped maps, you can take a look at some of the Texas districts the way that they're currently drawn right now. You can take a look at
your
districts.
District goes all over the
district
place.
that I represent. You can take a look at in places in Georgia. You can take a look at places in Tennessee. You can take a look at Florida. Oh my God! You want to talk about weirdly shaped districts? Look at Florida. So it's very easy, actually, to point to odd-shaped districts. The difference and the big distinction is those red states that I just talked about and those blue states that I just talked about, including Illinois, they did their redistricting at the beginning of the decade when the Constitution says you're supposed to do it after the census comes out.
The normal process.
The normal process. Illinois, for the record, just so everyone is clear, Illinois has never, ever done mid-decade redistricting. So all those little stupid Illinois maps that are out there floating around and people are using as an example, flush that crap down the toilet, because Illinois has never done mid-decade redistricting. Thank you.
Up next, a Republican who says the Texas House will not be held hostage. Frisco Representative Jared Patterson lays out his position. Plus, the first congressional challenge for a North Texas seat in redistricting line of fire. He ran for president. Now he wants to take out an incumbent member of Congress. As we enter another week of this showdown, Republicans in Austin grow restless. That includes Frisco Republican Jared Patterson. He supports the drastic action taken by the governor and the attorney general. Here's what he had to say.
They did this once before, back in 2021. They broke quorum. They left the state and delayed progress on important bills, important work for the people of Texas. And the result was that they lost 5 seats in the Texas House of that cycle. And so I think that, Democrats would be wise to show up for work, to do the work that they are elected to do, and quite frankly, that they're paid to do. And we've got important work to do when you talk about flood relief, when you talk about human trafficking laws and property tax relief, and yes, redistricting. The people of Texas deserve to have their representatives in Austin on the battlefield that is the Texas House floor.
What's your opinion on the steps that have been taken from state leaders, with arrest warrants, asking the FBI to get involved? Why try and arrest them? Why not just wait them out?
Look, at the end of the day, our rules and our Constitution calls for this. This is exactly the process that's laid out. The Speaker has every right to sign the civil arrest warrants that he signed. The governor has every right to use every tool in the toolbox to get these people to return. This is not a normal situation. It's only happened 3 times in the past, 20 years or so. But it's something that the law allows for us to do. These people are not doing what they're constitutionally obligated to do. That's a really big deal.
The Democrats in Chicago argue, hey, we don't like when redistricting happens, but it happens every 10 years. What's different this time is it's in the mid-census. We're in the middle of the decade doing it. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, when I don't like something that the legislature's doing, I either file an amendment, I speak against it, or I vote against it on the floor. That's the system that's set up, and that's what every member has the right to do. In terms of mid-decade redistricting, look, we're in a period of growth that we haven't seen ever really before in the history of the state of Texas. We have to redistrict, we have to reapportion the population once every 10 years. But, we're seeing 1,600 new residents every single day in the state of Texas. This rapid growth, this rapid expansion of population means that many of these districts are lopsided. And so we are well within our rights. We are well within the process, and we should ensure that every single person in the state of Texas has an equal vote. And we do that by making sure that the seats, the districts, are apportioned appropriately.
Right now, the state of Texas has 25 Republican members of Congress. This would move it to be 30 out of the 38. The Democrats will say, hey, that's just not fair.
And of course, it's ironic that they fly to Chicago and go to Illinois, where the Democrats won about 52 to 53% of the vote last election, yet hold more than 80% of the congressional seats. You look at the New England states north of New York, states like Delaware and Maine and Rhode Island, 0 Republican representation in Congress. You look at the Democrats that fled to Boston. Massachusetts has 0 Republican representation in Congress. It is laughable that they flee to these states, the worst gerrymandered states in the nation, and then complain about what Texas Republicans are doing. And quite frankly, I'm sick of being called a racist. The big secret, the big bombshell that the Democrats don't want to talk about is that 4 of the 5 new congressional seats that we've drawn are majority Hispanic districts. So get out of here with the racist stuff. That's the card that they pull every single time that they don't like what we're doing. Well, we've got the Trump card. 4 of the 5 seats are Hispanic districts. They can scream racist all they want. It doesn't hold water.
If they stay out of state until August 20th, do you think Governor Abbott should call a second special session the next day?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I do too. In fact, I think if they come back now and they have delayed our progress on getting important work done as it relates to flood relief or human trafficking or ending the STAR test or ending the abortion pill in Texas or banning taxpayer-funded lobbying or any of the issues that are on the call, if they have delayed a single issue, I think that Governor Abbott should call us back for a second special session and perhaps add additional Republican priorities to the call. There needs to be harsh penalties for this action that they took this week of leaving the state and leaving us with nothing to do for a week.
We expected Republican challengers in these redrawn maps. However, we did not expect it to happen this quickly. This week, a Republican jumped into the race for Texas 32, currently based in eastern and central Dallas County. Right now, it favors Democrats. But take a look at the proposed version. It is drastically different, stretching from the Metroplex east, almost to the Texas-Louisiana border, and now favors Republicans. Is this fair? I asked the new candidate.
So the map's changed because there's more Republicans now. And so when you win most of the counties like we have in last election, that just happens. I thought about this, that if you're a Democrat, you're kind of in trouble. If you want more influence, you should probably move out of Texas because Texas is a Republican state.
Businessman Ryan Binkley launched a long-shot presidential bid last year before endorsing President Trump. Now, he's running for Congress with his sights set on Congresswoman Julie Johnson. Whether it's the current map or the new map, he says he'll run. Johnson had no comment on Binkley getting into the race. Last week, she told Lone Star Politics these maps will steal the seat away from her diverse constituents.
Harris Carrollton, for example, goes through Richardson and goes all the way out past Longview, over almost 200 miles.
And President Trump this week said he was entitled to a seat like Johnson's, arguing it will prevent Democrats from launching investigations into his administration.
This is a quorum break that is completely assisted by the Republican leadership, the failed Republican leadership of the Texas House.
Up next, dissent in the ranks. A Texas Republican says his party must shoulder some of the blame for what's happened in the House. Why he believes the quorum break was predictable and preventable. You're watching Lone Star Politics.
Texas is a place that's done very well with a free enterprise kind of an attitude, with the exact opposite of what's happening in New York with a communist mayor. And they know what they're doing, and they're doing the right thing.
At least one Republican in Austin believes his party shoulders some of the blame for this ongoing struggle. State Representative Brian Harrison from Waxahachie says House leadership should have taken action sooner.
All but 14 members of the Texas House voted for a long weekend. Why? So that the Democrats could collude and strategize with Hakeem Jeffries. This was preventable. Not only was it preventable, it was easily preventable. This is a total failure of the Republicans that control the Texas government.
Texas House Democrats met with U.S. House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries in Austin last Wednesday. The Texas Democrats left the state then on Sunday, roughly 24 hours before the House was scheduled to vote on redistricting. As all of this continues to play out, many Texans are getting to know a new face, Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois, taking center stage and sheltering the Texas Democrats. For more on him, we turn to Mary Ann Ahern, political reporter at our sister station in Chicago.
For a lot of Texans, this may be their first experience with Governor J.B. Pritzker. Who is Governor Pritzker?
Oh, and he likes that because he wants you to know who he is. Governor Pritzker has been the governor for 2 terms and is running for a 3rd, but he also has an eye on the White House in 2028. Has been all over the country already, speaking to every Democratic dinner that he can get his hands on. And while Texas might not have majority of Democrats, he still wants everyone to know his name.
And he is the heir of a hotel family, right? Like he was a billionaire before he entered politics, correct?
J.B. Pritzker is one of the heirs to the Hyatt hotel chain. He is considered one of the richest politicians in the country. He is worth more than $3 billion. He is a self-funder of his own campaigns. And so, of course, we've been asking him, are you helping the Texas Democrats? And he has been reticent to say that he's written a check yet, but also did not say he would not do so. So if needed, I think he would.
And why does he care about the Texas Democrats?
J.B. Pritzker cares about Democratic values, but he also cares about his future and whether or not Texas Democrats might help him in his quest to become the president. He is all in. And by taking on this new controversy, when many here in Illinois are saying, wait a second, have you seen the Illinois map? The Illinois map is run by the Democrats, and it is very much gerrymandered. It has all kinds of crazy looking districts. And right now there are only 3 Republican seats in Illinois. And so there are many saying, wait a second, our state is no example of a fair map. Yet he is willing to get into this fight because he knows that Democrats across the country are looking for a leader. And there isn't one person who has been the shining star to say this will be the one who will face the Republicans in 2028.
What are you going to be watching for as this plays out in the days ahead?
Well, it sure does seem as if the map is going to get passed. This is a delay, and it certainly has put the issue in the spotlight nationwide. And now there's talk of other states. Indiana may redistrict and may add a seat or two. They only have 2 to give because the state is so Republican. So it has definitely put the issue in the spotlight, but it doesn't look as if, at least from my view, that the Democrats are going to be successful in seeing to it that the Texas Republicans don't get what they want.
So much more to this story that's still developing. We will continue to bring you updates here on Lone Star Politics and NBC5. And to see the maps at the center of this debate, log on to nbcdfw.com. That's all the time we have. Stay tuned for Meet the Press with Kristen Welker. I'm Phil Prazen for our entire crew. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you back here next Sunday for more Lone Star Politics.